As of late, NASCAR has done two things in regards to changes, both either with the cars or with the track. They either, number one, make a change that makes no sense and is not necessary, or number two, they would make a change that would just make the situation even worse and is not really fixing the real problems. Today, we're going to talk about the second one. Yo, what is up everyone? My name is Jack Krause and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Lines. Hope you guys are having a good day. We have one story to talk about on this show. I know we have, the Chase Elliott story with Lumnar and the next gen testing at Daytona, but that stuff's not really important. Let's focus on the big story. Last night, Adam Stern posted this on Twitter, which basically states that NASCAR is really considering with teams and having a huge shift in terms of how the numbers and the cars look. Basically, if you saw the All-Star race, the numbers were slightly shifted to the rear wheels a little bit and shrunken a little bit as to allow for a much bigger sponsor to be placed right next to it, near the front wheels. Now, when this was first announced for the All-Star race, a lot of people did not like it. But there were some people saying, hey, it's just a one-time change. I even posted a video about it a while back when this was first announced that it could be a one-time change. Well, knowing NASCAR, more than likely, this could be a real thing in 2022 because if you've looked at the All-Star race as of late, the stage cautions or the stage breaks, that wasn't implemented later on in a couple years. How about the restrictor plate package? Not too long after that, NASCAR released a high downforce, low horsepower package. Whenever NASCAR makes a change or announce something new for the All-Star race, more than likely they're going to implement that or implement a similar version of that into the later years of NASCAR as a weekly reoccurrence. And this one is looking to be another example. Now, this is a big problem because this is not really focusing on the main issue in NASCAR. Currently at the moment, it's weird. There are new sponsors coming into NASCAR, but there are also existing sponsors that are leaving. For example, Lowe's a few years ago left. How about Mountain Dew, the team that sponsors the defending NASCAR champion and the most popular driver, Chase Elliott? They're leaving. PepsiCo, they're leaving NASCAR after a long running history with Hendrick Motorsports, specifically with Jeff Gordon in the last 2 decades. We've seen a lot more sponsors leave as of late. We've also seen some new sponsors come into NASCAR, but really only for a short-term basis. The existing sponsors that have been with NASCAR for a long time, you've seen them leave, especially a lot as of late. So I believe that NASCAR and the Race Team Alliance, RTA, believe that this new method of moving the number slightly to the left or to the rear wheels to allow room for a much bigger sponsor would fix all that. I got news flash. It's not going to work, okay? It's just not going to work. First of all, the look of the car. If you saw the All-Star race, there were some cars that looked nice. The Energizer 37. But then you might have some other schemes like the Ally car for Jimmy Johnson, which looked horrendous. It looked like a 5-year-old just decided, you know what, let's just slap stickers wherever. Hey, there's an empty spot. Slap it with a logo. It just did not look good. And I think, again, it exposes the real problem between NASCAR and sponsorship. First of all, this is a stock car. This is not a supercar or an IMSA car where you place the numbers differently, or an Indy car where you place it on the spoiler or on the wing. This is a stock car. Generally speaking, the stock car has always been placed in the middle, between the front and rear tires, exactly in the middle, underneath the window net. Now, for those of you that are defending this change, let's say you say, oh, but maybe, with the bigger exposure for a sponsor, might bring in new sponsors. That's not going to work. The reason why is because as of late, we're no longer living in the 90s and the early 2000s where you slap a logo on a car, have a race around a track for a couple hours, and boom, get your exposure, get your impressions. That's not how it works anymore. It's no longer the days of build it and they will come. Or in this case, put a logo on it and they will come. Now, it's you have to put a logo on it, but then you actually have to do stuff in order to get fans talking. A perfect example is Busch Beer. They have gone all out with their NASCAR sponsorship. The Millennium car. Was it horrendous? Yes. Did it make my eyes bleed? Yes. Did it get me talking about Busch Beer? Yes. You have to get stuff that gets people talking. That Busch Beer, that Millennium car was one of the most talked about things the entire week. Not just weekend, that entire week or 1 or 2 weeks. And it had Busch Beer's logo all over it. The Gen X car, the Harvick beer car, didn't even have Busch's logo on it, and yet it was still the most talked about scheme that entire weekend. I believe it ran at Dover. And it didn't even have the Busch Beer logo on the car. How about Mobil 1? What they did with Tony Stewart back in 2016. How about later on, a few years later, in fact, this year when they had that dancing segment between Clinton Boyer and Kevin Harvick. Everyone was talking about that. It was all over TV. That's how you get impressions. That's how you get people talking. You actually have to incorporate NASCAR into your company and push it out to an audience that maybe doesn't watch NASCAR or maybe just doesn't relate the sponsor with that driver very well. Get them talking. How about a few weeks ago, Domino's and Denny Hamlin. Domino's is a simple logo, one small logo on Hamlin's fire suit. Not even on the card, on the fire suit. And yet, what's happening? A lot of people are talking about Domino's and Denny Hamlin. You have to be able to use your athletes. Use what you got and use it to your advantage. You can't just slap a logo on a car and expect to do well. That's not NASCAR anymore. You actually have to do stuff to incorporate your audience, to be able to get fans talking, get engagement. You get fans talking about your product, guess what? Your product's going to do a lot better. If you just slap a logo on a car and do nothing with that, guess what? Not many people are going to talk about it. Here's another example. Ally. What did they do? Even though their schemes haven't been the best, they have been able to find ways to incorporate their fans into their product. Perfect example, Texas, when you got Lefty Designs, one of the most popular or most well-known NASCAR graphic designers as of late coming into the scene. They had him design a car. That entire week, everyone was talking about that car with Ally's logo on it. That's good. You want people to talk about things that involve your company. Simply moving the number just to allow a bigger sponsor on it is not going to work. In fact, I think that's just going to hurt on how people perceive NASCAR, because what is the one thing that when you take a look across flags, how about this flag, for example, boom, number. That's one of the most iconic things about NASCAR. Here, my shirt, Jeff Gordon, 24. How about boom, number. One of the most iconic things about NASCAR is the number. Okay, it's not like okay, let's use, for example, NBA with the Boston Celtics, one of the most iconic brands in all of sports. How about NASCAR? The 24, the 3, the 43, the 48. Those are iconic numbers. They are plastered either on flags, stickers, on trucks, on the back bumpers of trucks, on die-casts, on everything. They've placed the number on everything. That's an iconic and very important symbol. And certain things you just don't touch. That is one of them. You just don't touch that. And simply moving the number back to allow more sponsors to think. Because again, the main objective of this move is to maximize sponsorship exposure, which is not going to work. That's not how it's going to work. The only way you're going to get the maximum amount of exposure for your company is if you actually engage with your audience. And once again, the helicopter is interrupting this episode. Thank you. But yeah, I really, really do hope NASCAR and the teams do not go through with this change. But knowing NASCAR, 95% of their changes have been rules that have made no sense or have been rules that just made the situation even worse and does not focus on the real issue at hand. There are many sponsors in NASCAR that I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't even know still are with NASCAR. The sponsors need to be able to use their resources to their advantage. Whether it's doing stuff like what Bush Beer did, maybe changing how you do your cars in order to get people talking, like the Millennium car, like the Gen X car. Or you could take the route of what sponsors did in the late 90s and early 2000s. Put your sponsor and your driver on everything. Cereal boxes, car batteries, commercials, anything you can think of. Put it on a football. Put it on a plastic fish, for God's sakes. I don't know. Just put it on everywhere. Get it so that whenever a fan or even a casual fan just even sees the logo and number, they can boom, make that connection already. Gordon, DuPont, Earnhardt, Goodwrench, Johnson, Lowe's. They can make that connection right away. Stewart, Home Depot. Make that connection. You can't just slap a logo on a car and expect it's going to do wonders, because it's not. And that's what the sponsors have to realize. Now, back then, NASCAR was everywhere, and also incorporated to NASCAR's boom in the late 90s and early 2000s because it was everywhere. Now, you are lucky to even see a NASCAR commercial nowadays. Barely, it's shown anywhere. You'd be lucky to see any form of NASCAR products. Even back then, there would be NASCAR drivers Christmas wrapping on the shelves there. Put it out there. Put your logo out there. Put your driver out there in the spotlight. Get people talking. You have to think about it. When this was first announced, everybody, well, not everybody, but let's say 93% of it was all backlash, was all hate for it. They did not like this change. Why? Because the change makes no sense. It's not focusing on the real problem. Look at the All-Stars, for example. All of the cars that ran that type of style with having the logo in front of the number, do you really think that made an impact? Did you really think that got people talking? Yeah, it got people talking, but in all the wrong reasons. I completely forgot about this, but Chase Elliott won the All-Star race, but I don't even remember the sponsor he won it with. I had to look it up myself, and it was UniFirst. I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know Chase Elliott won. The drivers the sponsor that I associate Chase Elliott with was Hooters, Napa Auto Parts. Why? Because they actually use their driver. They use Chase Elliott and use it to their advantage. They place him in front of commercials. You saw Chase Elliott in the Hooters commercials where race day is better or that whatever that commercial is. How about Napa Auto Parts when I was 18, when he was in the Nationwide Series, or when Chase Elliott was a blow-up doll? I still remember that stuff because it got people talking. That's how you do it. What the hell has Universe done with Chase Elliott? Nothing. That's why you barely hear people mention that company's name. Simply just moving the number back, making the logo bigger is not fixing the problem. Sponsors, if you want to get the best out of your relationship with NASCAR, you have to actually do stuff with NASCAR and with your driver. Again, perfect example. Look at Busch Beer. Look at Ally. They got people talking, and that's why they are one of the most recognizable brands in all of NASCAR. Look at Mobil 1. They're the ones that are being talked about. Why? Because they actually do stuff that gets people talking. That's how it works. Not making your logo bigger. Because, I mean, think about it. Your main logo is already on the hood of the car. It's already on the back of the car. It's already on the side of the car. Sometimes, with some cars, it's on the roof of the car. I mean, what more can you want? You can only do so much with a car. I don't know, but I have a feeling this is just going to be approved, and I have a feeling in 2022, we're going to see this change be permanent, which I will not be happy about. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people also will not be happy about this change. But we'll see what happens. Tell me your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you like this change? Do you not? Again, let me know in the comments. But until next time, my name is JettMDK. And I'll see you guys next time.